Camera's a little low today, so my head's cut off, but oh well. This is the first video on the new computer. You can see there's the old busted piece of crap and the new highs. Anyways, okay, so post UFC 87, I did pretty well on this card. Went 7-3, which is pretty solid. Quickly go over the undercard. Ben Saunders tapping out. Ryan Thomas in the second round. John Jones, this was one of my losses. Won a UD over Andre Gusmao. Tando Corey won a unanimous decision over Luke Kumo. Chris Wilson won a unanimous decision over Steve Bruno. And I think the rest we saw. Yes, we did. Okay. So another loss for me was Rob Emerson, Manny Gambierian. Basically, horrible game plan by Manny. He just charges at a taller, better striker than him and got clipped, then got finished on the ground. Where does Rob Emerson go from here? I really don't know. I think if he had lost this fight, he probably wouldn't be around anymore. But since he won, he'll probably get like another fight. I really don't know. So someone I think that they want to get a win for would probably make sense. As for Manny, he'll stick around. I mean, he's a good fighter. He's Caro's cousin, which, you know, generally means he has the family connections. He'll stand around a bit. Plus, he has a winning record. Right? Plus, he's like 500 in the UFC, and you know, probably should have been their Ultimate Fighter winner. But who does he fight? Probably someone new, I think, because they may want to get him a win. They'll bring someone up from the smaller shows and kind of as a sacrificial lamb. Emerson, really, they'll give him to someone who needs a win. That's my real opinion. Demian Maia, Jason McDonald, this fight went almost exactly as I called it, other than McDonald lasted longer than I thought it would. Maia getting the tap out in the third round with the rear naked choke. It didn't look like the most secure rear naked choke in the world, but you know, later on in the fight, it's a little easier to get the tap out, a little less hard to the fight. McDonald got outstruck by Maia, which is sad. McDonald did take him down, and his corner was yelling at him not to take him down. They were yelling at him to knock him out because Maia was completely schooling him on the ground. Maia would school 99% of the middleweights on the ground. He's just that good. I mean, we're talking about a world champ, a national stage champ, BJJ, a Abu Dhabi champ. I mean, the credentials speak for themselves. Where does Jason McDonald go? Well, you know, if I had my way, it'd be out of the UFC, but everyone knows my problems with Jason McDonald. But in seriousness, I don't know. I can't really. I mean, it depends on what kind of strategy they take with him. Whether they want to build him back up, or they want to get rid of him. Basically, I think they'll probably build him back up because I mean he does have wins over guys like Lieben and Herman and Joe Dirksen, but that doesn't really matter. Excuse me. So I think they'll probably keep him and give him someone that he can somewhat beat. Maybe a fight against. This is the problem with Jason McDonald. I don't know if there's really a lot of people I would say you could feed to him because he's a little bit inconsistent and he's prone to getting submitted. He's not a good striker and he's not a terribly good wrestler. So it's really hard to think of who the UFC, because we know the UFC most of the time puts on fights to get a result they want. So if they want Jason McDonald to win, it's hard to think of who they would use. As for Demian Maia, another step up in competition would be good. I think he's kind of getting close to the title picture because he's one of those guys. I mean, if he can get Anderson Silva down without being punished a lot, which I think he might be able to with some better striking, but that'll require time. And he also needs cardio. You can see that he was gassing in this fight, just like in his other fights, and that's no good. Who would he fight? Maybe the winner of Henderson Palhares in a somewhat #1 contenders match, although I think that would be rushing it a bit, but we know that the UFC would rushes things. Who else could he fight? You know, they could have him fight Yushin Okami if they want to see if they can get Okami a loss. If they haven't let him go. Other than that, mean, there's a lot of potential fights that he could have. Martin Kampmann or Nate Marquardt would also be guys. The winner of that fight would be a good idea. What's that other fight that's coming up that I really want to see? Oh, or the winner of Goran Reljic and Talasleus would also be a decent fight. Moving on, we have Dan the Viking Evanson versus Cheick Kongo. Dan Evanson does get props for kind of having one of the better lines of the night when Cheick Kongo was talking about, I am the wolf and he is my prey, and of course Evanson says, I'm a Viking, we eat wolf, and that was pretty cool. But as for the fight, Dan Evanson kind of let me down. I mean, I picked Cheick Kongo. In fact, yeah, I think I got this fight. I think I missed the round in this fight, but it was pretty close. Cheick Kongo was the better striker, of course, and he's the better wrestler. Although, God, he really needs to give up on this idea of I'm going to take you down. It worked against Herring because I think it surprised Herring, and he ended up losing anyways. But he actually got Herring down because I think it surprised him. He could not really get Evanson down, and he gave him that standing guillotine, which was ridiculous. People are criticizing Evanson for not finishing that, but a standing guillotine is hard to finish. That's why you normally pull guard when you have the guillotine, and the problem is, of course, then you have Cheick Kongo on top of you, and that's not necessarily a desirable situation for a guy who apparently is a purple belt, but I've seen his previous fights, and he doesn't look like a purple belt on the ground, in all honesty. But Cheick Kongo with it finally realized, you know, I'm a striker, and basically from that point, Dan Evanson got completely tooled from that point onwards, and it's really, I mean, Kongo after the fight was a bit of a dick. I want the title, as he said it, the title. Nogueira would completely fuck Kongo up. Kongo doesn't seem to understand this concept that he's not a wrestler, for one thing, and for another thing, I can't see him knocking out Nogueira, and Nogueira would take him down, because we've seen Kongo is not hard to take down, and he would get submitted very quickly, I think, by Nogueira. So I hope they don't put that fight together. Where would Kongo go? People are talking about Brock Lesnar and Kongo, and I wouldn't mind that fight, although the fight I really kind of want to see is Kongo versus Velasquez, because I think that would kind of, well, he's fighting Hardrock, which I guess will kind of serve the same purpose as I thought for the Kongo fight, but it would kind of show how Velasquez is going to deal with strikers, because that's one of the concerns. I mean, he's a monster wrestler, and he's incredibly fast, he's good on the ground, but how's he going to handle the strikers? As for Dan Evanson, he'll probably get a second fight, even though he didn't look very good. I mean, I would suspect, since he is an Extreme Couture guy, and they tend to go for longer contracts, he's got to have at least a fight or two left on his contract. Who would I like to see him fight? Well, he would probably put up a pretty good fight against Herring. That wouldn't be a bad fight, actually, after Herring got tooled by Lesnar tonight, which we'll get to later. But I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head outside that I really want to see. The last fight I got wrong was Roger Huerta, Kenny Florin, and basically it's because Roger Huerta he's tough. His striking is clumsy though and sloppy, and when he gets aggressive, he gets tooled, and he didn't try one takedown against Kenny Florin. What the heck? You're a wrestler. This is kind of like almost like Cheick Kongo situation. Kenny looked good. Kenny counter-striked very well. Took him down, got mount. Didn't finish him, which was a little surprising. Because he had like mount. I mean, when he gets mount, he should be able to finish. But Kenny, not impressive enough to get the title shot, I don't think. Huerta, where does he go? He fights probably someone that there's rumors he'll be let go, and we'll see what happens with that. But if they do elect to keep him, I think they'll try and rebuild him a little bit, maybe against someone like fighting against Josh Neer might be kind of cool, if Neer, depending on how Neer does against Nate Diaz. As for Florian, the winner of Neer Diaz actually might not be a bad idea for him, or the winner of Shirk Griffin if they want to do a rematch, or the winner of Fisher and Gallard, I guess, maybe even though that's a little lower. Brock Lesnar defeats Keith Haring by UD. Lesnar comes out, knocks him down, just basically shows what we knew he had. He has speed, he has athleticism, he has strength, he has wrestling, he has some stand-up, he has quick hands, he has power, but his jiu-jitsu skills are severely lacking because he had no idea what to do with Herring when he was on the ground. As for Herring, he turtled up and looked horrible. I'm not going to go into detail because I'm running out of time. GSP versus John Fitch. John Fitch showed toughness, showed heart, but GSP showed better striking. He took down Fitch, not at will. I mean, Fitch is the first guy I think we've seen to really stop some takedowns, but in the end, just not a terribly competitive fight. I was a little surprised by that. I liked the toughness. It was a gritty display, but it was not terribly competitive. GSP keeps the title. They're going to do the Penn GSP thing, which I don't like. I want to see Alves get his shot if he beats Diego Sanchez, or maybe Sanchez if he beats Alves' shot. But I mean, he hasn't cleaned the division out. That's my point. And Penn hasn't cleaned his division out either. So this is too early. Anyways, I would love to go in more detail, but I'm over time. So later.